Hi, my name is Nathan. I'm here on behalf of the SeaWorld San Diego Fish Department. I'm part of the team that helped move some of these sharks into this exhibit. With the new reopening of Shark Encounter, there's a lot of things that we want to show off and let the world see. One of those being this specific shark, actually. That is a sandbar shark, one of the new species of animals that we've introduced to this exhibit. We've worked with a couple other facilities out in the States, also accredited by the AZA Association, that allow us to transfer animals in between parks, and those guys, sandbar sharks, are a perfect example of that. There was a different facility that had a little bit too many of them, and we had space to take some of them, and so we were more than happy to do so. It also allows us to diversify this exhibit. Having these animals with different species allows them to exhibit different behaviors that we can find and allows them to experience things a little bit differently. It's a nice little mini form of enrichment. Each individual shark is very different, and they're each going to have their own personalities, and that's something that we have to take into account a lot of the time when we're taking care of these guys. The black tip reef sharks specifically, the ones with the black tips, for example, are going to be a lot more pelagic, which means that they're going to be swimming around in the water column a lot. Whereas you get some other sharks like the white tip reef sharks, which are going to have the white tips as well, whereas those guys lay down a lot. They're more benthic is what it's called. So they lay on the floor. They're not exactly bottom feeders, but they do spend a lot of time down there on the ground. We do also have some nurse sharks and Australian leopard sharks as well, and those guys are premium examples of benthic animals. They eat off the floor, they live off the floor, and it's a very good example of the difference in the shark species. There are very, very big differences between the different species. If you look right there, the lemon shark is going to have a very different tail than that Australian leopard shark, and one of the biggest things about sharks is actually their tails, and that's part of how they move, as well as part of how you can identify certain parts of how they live. So if the top half of a shark's caudal fin or their tail fin is longer, that's the upper lobe. Much longer upper lobes typically indicate a much more sedentary, less active shark, whereas a shorter, more equal upper lobe that's closer to the lower lobe, where you would see in like the black tips or in the sandbars as well, also in the lemon shark, typically is going to indicate a much faster, active animal. There's also different ways that you can tell that based on their head and their dorsal fin placements. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can tell about a shark just by looking at it. And it's one of my personal favorite things, is trying to find new species of sharks that I haven't seen before and then decipher all these little bits and pieces of information that I can get from just looking at them. But these guys have been in here for quite some time. They're very accustomed to living in this aquarium, and they're very used to living together. We get a lot of questions about whether or not the sharks get along, and for the most part, these guys get along just great. They've been together for quite some time, and they're very, very accustomed and happy to be in this exhibit. We've tried to make this as comfortable as possible for them, and I am pretty proud to say that I feel that we've gotten quite close to that.